What is the metaverse and how will it influence our lives and work? This documentary reports from people who already have experience with the technologies and ways of working.
Greetings from the future order, tales from the metaverse. And today we're going to be talking about the reality of virtual reality. I mean, what is the difference between this and actually being away from a headset? I mean, we're seeing things, we're interacting with people, we can pick things up here. I mean, there's very few things that we can't do. Obviously, we can't feel
Mm.
things, but that's coming. This year at the computer consumer show, they released or showed a lot of products that have a great potential in terms of providing a tactile feel, things like that. Chris?
Definitely. I mean, it's a good question to ask, what is real? So I guess that many people have a different feeling of what is feeling real to them or not. Like the impression if something is realistic is one thing. So does something looks realistic or does it feel like a real environment? Do I have the feeling that this could be physical somehow? And in the end, when we think about that, what do we receive or what is our reception of reality? It's something that is made up in our minds because we have sensors, we have our hands, we have our skin, we have our eyes, and those sensors are sending information into our brain. And that brain is the thing that is putting together our view, for example, because normally everything is upside down. Brain is putting it back into the right position.
What do you think of the reality is of virtual reality?
What do I think the reality of it is? I mean, I believe it has a very bright future. I heard you guys talking about how people are actually buying real estate. So apparently it's profitable in some way. I think it's the future of reality in a sense.
Well, my question is, would you imagine to buy with real money virtual real estate for yourself?
Yeah, I would. I most definitely would do it. I actually met someone that has a club here, and somebody rented out his club for a birthday party. So I'm into anything that's profitable to be
Oh,
honest with you.
cool.
Okay, so your main interest would be to make profit with that.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Oh wow, this is really nice. Um, no, this is actually my first time being in alt space. So
Oh,
I'm brand
Oh,
new to VR. I just got my VR system yesterday, so this is all kind of new to me, I guess.
what
What's
would
it, what's
a
this space we're in right here? What's going on here?
well, this is a studio basically, and every Tuesday we're shooting a little talk show here. The idea is to talk to the people that are already in the metaverse, to tell people that are not here what they
Right.
think that it. So,
Very
what do you
interesting.
think now, the first time that you experience those worlds? Like, how real are they for you?
Kind of, I guess, used to this kind of technology in a way. Like, my parents, they would be like completely confused. But, I think stepping into VR and in, I guess, the metaverse, it took me by surprise and it kind of like blew my mind a little bit. I think there's so much you can do with this space and there's this technology that it's like we're just scratching the surface.
oh,
Yeah.
totally agreed. Yes, yes. It
Mhm.
gets more exciting every few months.
Right, right, absolutely.
So what was your perception before coming into here of from what you've been hearing on the media?
I mean, I just felt like I kept hearing about the metaverse, the metaverse, the metaverse, and I started seeing that friends of mine and on social media and other people, with the VR glasses and the VR headsets, and it just started becoming like more of a common thing to see. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot and try it out. Um, and like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be this immersive and this, amazing. Actually, it's mind blowing. It's a lot of people don't realize what it's about and like what's out there. You can do so much with it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think many people just equate this to a game. They look at the VR
Exactly.
headset
Right.
and say, "Oh, you're just gaming," and they don't have a clue about the fact that there's so much you can do here. I mean, that's why in the beginning I spent 18 hours a day in the headset because I mean, as you say, it's mind blowing, and I mean, I was totally enthralled by it, and still am. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a bigger social aspect to it than most people see, I guess.
Yep.
A lot of people, like you said, see it as a gaming platform, just like an Xbox or a PlayStation that, kids get and they play games on it for, whatever reasons. But I think the social aspect to it is massive. That's kind of what I'm just now like discovering about it, with AR space and whatnot. And it's just it's mind blowing. Like there's nothing else I can say. It's mind blowing.
So,
right,
for example,
exactly.
there are a lot of different organizations also here on Altspace. Some are offering education, for example, like there are groups that are meeting and they are trying to do recreations of
Right.
ancient historical places or whatever kind of stuff. Could you imagine to learn to be someone who's studying in the metaverse in social VR or in VR, or working in the metaverse like this? Could you imagine to do that in future?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I think the metaverse and VR, I think it opens up so many opportunities for education. I think learning in an environment like this where you can be hands-on and talking to people from all across the world in a virtual environment, I think it's going to change the way we educate. I think there's a huge opportunity there. Absolutely.
Um, yeah, but to the point of education, I just recently started my Calculus 1 class, and there's an app called Gravity Art, Gravity
Gravity
Drawing.
Sketch.
Yeah,
Gravity
Gravity
Sketch.
Sketch.
Ah,
It makes
okay.
it real easy to write out and visually see equations. Whereas, like, I put them on paper, then I lose the paper, or I mix it up with other things. I can make a sketch called the specific homework I'm working on, and visually write out these equations, which just makes it a lot easier for me to understand. So this is definitely the future of education.
Hmm.
Interesting, interesting. So what makes them easier to understand when you write them in virtual reality, opposed to, say, if you write them on a piece of paper?
Well, on a piece of paper, you can run out of space and you have to erase things, and sometimes it makes like a splotchy mess that's hard to
Okay.
read, and that pencil comes off of paper. But when you're like virtually writing stuff out, you're using your actual hand to write out these equations. So when you go back and look at them, there's no mess, there's no the paper got crumpled up or you just lost it. It's it's like 3D just there. And also I can use colors to like notify when I'm working on the problem and when I answered the problem. So I can see the
Right,
steps
right.
how I got there.
Cool. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah, I definitely agree
an
with that as well.
interesting use of Gravity Sketch. Yes.
So how long, Dillard, are you using virtual VR headsets yourself?
Oh, me? I got this for my birthday well, it was an early birthday present. So I got this in October. Yeah, October.
Okay.
So I've been using it for about a month or two and it's really cool.
But I agree with your point with the whole education aspect. I think for me personally, I think doing education like that and learning that way makes it a whole lot easier for me to understand it when I visualize it in a 3D space like this. So I think education, VR is the future of education. I mean, a lot of things, not just education. I think VR. We're going to see VR in our lives in the coming years everywhere. Not just education, not just work, not just leisure, but it's going to be everywhere.
Yes.
Well, you look
Agreed.
at from education for world builders, instead of the history book, we have a lot of history that can now be created that uh, people can go and experience this history rather than read it. And I used to like watching the History Channel shows of it, but now it's like all that content to make it to where you can make it immersive is just wow. I
Yeah, like
mean,
we
who
can go
doesn't?
visit these worlds and see these, different whatever, like in 3D, which is just it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I was like working before when I was on writing on paper. Sometimes like I don't want to feel bothered to pull out another piece of paper, write it down, lose it, because I'll just be distracted. But like in VR, you actually enjoy being in VR, so I can get lost in my actual math assignments for hours at a time, which is good for me in the long run. And like I can always refer back to the work because it's on my VR headset. I'm not losing this anytime soon. So it's just really useful.
Oh, good point. Good point.
So is there something that you are missing when you think about what would be this thing that you would love to see and that is not yet there? An application or a tool or whatever, or an experience. Do you have anything?
Um, I definitely say teachers should encourage classrooms where they have their actual classes here. And also, a great thing about this is, in a way, if this goes further, which I think it will, you won't have to stick to a basic curriculum because instead of, having to drive out to work, come back home at a certain time, you're in your house and you can either, as long as you're there for attendance, you can like join the classroom lobby or whatever they're going to call it. You can go to your math class, or you can go to a financial etiquette class, or you can go to a specific skill. Because a lot of complaints that I heard when I was in high school is like a lot of this basic curriculum stuff feels useless and I'm never gonna be able to apply it. But in VR, you can go to specific classes and learn things that you feel like you will use in the future. So you're not restricted to a school building, to a schedule, to everything. You can just jump on, wake up, put your VR headset on, go to class, learn plethora of different things, and then get off for the day. Maybe office environments, I could see them possibly running it from there. Make people's instead of working in a cubicle from 9 to 5 and feeling all lifeless, you can you can jump in a work lobby, uh, have your specific room, take calls, do what you need to do, and then get off for the day, and that's it. So I think this will give people a lot more freedom to enjoy life once they get off of it, because instead of getting off of it and going to work, you're getting off of it, you're hanging out with your family or friends and stuff. And you do all your work and learning on here. So I think that's one of the better applications for this.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good point.
Excellent.
I'm Chumnar. It's more of a
Chumnar.
description. I'm friendly, but I'm gnarly too, So,
And green.
yeah, I'm sorry. I just joined last night and played around for a little bit, and it's just been very interesting to me. And I'm surprised at how mature this is. I thought there'd be more bickering and just that's going on in this world. There's a lot of bickering going on and a lot of division, but I'm not seeing that here. I'm seeing a lot of people that want to create an environment that's friendly and works together. That doesn't want to. We're not creating a divided environment here. At least I haven't come across it yet. The other thing is, I have schizophrenia, and I've been medicated for. Well, It's a long story, but you mentioned mental health recently, and how this could change mental health. And I already feel comfortable in this world. Like I'm addressing a group of strangers about my mental illness. I remember when MySpace first came out, there was a mental illness support group, and it wasn't really moderated. It was just like a lot of people messing around, and I think moderation would help. It definitely a mental illness support group with people that are seeking help. Some people were just seeking a good time and like making up stories, and maybe their stories were delusions they had, but they weren't letting go of their delusion, their delusional thoughts. And speaking of mental illness, I almost had a little bit of a flashback last night to when I was unmedicated with all these voices coming at me. But I knew the voices were coming from the VR world, so, but I'm one of those people that was blessed with therapy early on in my early 20s. around around 9/11, the change of the turn of the century. I learned I was mentally ill, and it's hard at first, but then once you just accept it and understand it, I think this will just be a great benefit for the mental illness community also. That's another
Nice.
thing with schizophrenia. You learn that the schizophrenic voices aren't directional. Like, they're not coming from behind you or to the left or right. They're just in your head.
Oh,
Sorry.
interesting.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's different. Yeah, right.
Some people would call that your conscience.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I don't mean to play devil's advocate, but I try to always see all points of view. There's going to be some downsides, there's, with the less human contact, I imagine less disease would be spread. But, this is, I guess you were saying it is a consciousness. Your consciousness is still connecting with other people, but it's not the same to me yet, but I did find it was interesting what the last gentleman said. I did find it interesting how you're using it in your schooling. You're using VR in your schooling. That's for somebody that never went to college, it's like, oh wow, I could learn stuff here too. That sounds excellent.
Well, one announcement is this coin that you see on the ground right here. This is the Vibe coin, which is going to be gifted to artists, as an appreciation. We do feel in VR. So if you go to genuinevibes.com/vibe, we will gift you some Vibe for being here today if you want to take up on that offer.
We
Close
meet
with-
here every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, to talk about various things. Last week we had a world builder, Carnivore, who really put on a great show. It's actually on our YouTube channel and worth watching, particularly if you're a world builder and interested in world building.
No, it was a great talk. Thanks to all of you for listening, for sharing, for being here. And hopefully we might see you again next week.